Hello, my friends, and welcome to Simply Hooked, a crochet podcast. I'm your host, Marcy, a crochet designer, mom of two, and creative entrepreneur. Here we celebrate the joy of crochet and talk about what it really means to create a life you love through your own unique gifts. So it is a beautiful fall day in North Carolina. I woke up to a cool 60 degrees. I immediately turned on the fireplace because that's just what I do, and got my pumpkin spice creamer, and I just had a nice, peaceful morning. And I hope that you are having a nice, peaceful day as well. So let's get into today's episode. I have got something pretty special for you. I am pulling back the curtain on my entire crochet pattern design process. From that very first spark of an idea in my head all the way to launch day when the pattern goes live. I am breaking it all down step by step. We're going to really get in the weeds today. So if you are curious about pattern designing, if you want to do it yourself, then you're in for a treat. This episode will give you a clear look at what the process can look like. Now, granted, every designer is a little different, but for me, it is a 10-step journey that can be pretty tedious at times, but I love every minute. And that's what it's all about, right? You really have to love the designing process to get into it. I remember for years when I first started crocheting, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I could never write a pattern because I didn't like the idea of stopping and going to write down what I was doing. I just wanted to freehand everything. And which was fine. I was just making stuff to sell a physical product. But once I kind of made this transition into the business of all right, I need something more sustainable to last for years to come and build the business on. Then I got into writing patterns and really enjoying the process. Now I just completely love it. It's just such the opposite now. And it's great because when you make something, I think about something I made 10 years ago and I'm like, I don't know if I could recreate that exactly how it was because, I didn't write anything down. So it's nice to just have this vault, per se, of patterns that I can always look back on and I know exactly how to replicate something I made 3 years ago. So anyway, a little tangent there, but so if you are ready to dive into the details of pattern designing, grab your yarn, a cup of coffee, and let's get started. So it all begins with a spark of inspiration. An idea can be triggered by so many different things. Sometimes it's just tied to the season. Like right now it's October, so I'm thinking about Christmas patterns, what sort of, do I want to bring a snowman to life, maybe a reindeer? And then other times it just comes out of nowhere. Several months ago, I thought to myself, hey, I wonder if I could make a sailboat. I don't know why I was thinking about sailboats. It just popped in my head and I got excited about it. And that's also part of step one is, does the idea make me excited? Because that excitement is what adds fuel to my tank as I'm going through the pattern design process, which again, can be very tedious. I also want to make sure that I'm designing something that crocheters can't just find anywhere else. It really needs to be unique. And one of my most recent designs was a set of hand puppets. And they ended up being really popular because you just don't see those very often in the crochet space. In fact, I'm not sure I had ever just stumbled upon hand puppets in all of my Instagram crochet scrolling. I don't think I've ever seen them. So it just felt fresh and fun and different. And the fact that it was an interactive toy for kids is just icing on the cake, So that's kind of the sweet spot that I aim for, a design that is true to my style, it's enjoyable to make, and it offers something new to the crochet community. But I always step back and ask myself a couple of questions. Is this idea truly unique to me? And if I were another crocheter looking at this pattern, would I be excited to spend my time making it? And those questions really help me filter out the okay ideas from, yes, awesome, that's a great idea. The ones that are really worth investing my creative energy into. So from there, I shift into the brainstorming process. This is where pen meets paper, and the idea starts to take on more of a tangible form. And I start asking myself questions like, do I want to make it stuffed or unstuffed? Should it be a snuggler? Should it be a lovey blanket? Do I want it to stand up? Is it better if it sits down? Should it have big floppy ears or short ears? I sketch it out. Now, hear me, I am no artist by any means. These are very rough doodles. It's really just something, you just have to kind of map out how the different parts of the pattern are going to fit together. So it's less about creating a perfect drawing and more about just creating a visual roadmap to follow as I design. So at the same time, I'm also thinking about colors. I imagine how they're going to work, what kind of feeling they're going to bring to the finished piece. Like a soft pastel palette might make the design feel like sweet and baby friendly, while like bold, bright colors just make it fun. To be completely honest, it also depends what I have on hand. It's always better to design something when you already have the yarn on hand. And my husband will tell you I have plenty of yarn in this house to choose from, so it's usually not a problem. So then, once I feel good about my overall concept, it's time to bring it to life with a prototype. So this is where I grab some yarn, pick up a hook, and start crocheting. And at this stage, I am not aiming for perfection. This is not the one that I'm taking photos of. This is all about exploration. This is about, can I make the image in my head really come to life? I'm jotting down notes about the pattern as I'm going, but it's not a final product. So it's a lot of trial and error. It's kind of like sketching with yarn. So if the legs feel too long or the proportions just look a little off, like this is just the time to unravel, tweak it, and try again. That's okay. This is all part of the creative process. And sometimes, and in fact, many times, I have finished the whole prototype and then realize I don't like it. Or like something doesn't look right. I mean, I've had to just completely start over sometimes. And then other times it's like, you know what? The ears just need to be bigger. I need to move the eyes down another row or up another row. So this is when I kind of make adjustments, the fine-tuning of the design. So it's a messy stage, but it's also really fun. It's the bridge between the idea and the real thing. So after the prototype is finished and I feel confident about the design, I move on to creating the final version. So this is when things get tedious. This is the one that I'm going to make that gets photographed for the pattern and for the shop listing, and it has got to be picture perfect. So I choose the exact yarn and colors I plan to use, and I'm very intentional at this stage. This version is all about clarity, consistency, and presentation. And as I crochet, I'm in the office and I'm crocheting in front of my laptop with a fresh Canva document open. And it is crocheting and typing, round by round, stitch by stitch, counting rows. I type the full pattern as I go. And this typically takes days. This is not sit down one time, unless it's a very quick pattern. But most times, this takes several days. But by doing it this way, I don't miss a single detail, and I can clean up all the messy notes from the prototype. And at the same time, I take process photos with my cell phone. I mean, it's nothing overstaged. It's just clear shots of like each step, especially ones I'm like, would a beginner think this is confusing? So I'm snapping photos and then I'm airdropping them to my laptop, and then I move them over into the Canva document. I just try to put it together as much as I can as I'm going. And also, a side note, when I first started writing patterns, I used Microsoft Word. Oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. The formatting was terrible. The images jumped all over the place. So I'm so thankful for Canva. I mean, I use it for everything, as you probably know by now, but most especially for pattern designing. I mean, you can create such a beautifully laid out, professional looking pattern. And it's so easy. So please don't use Word. Don't make it harder on yourself. Get a free Canva account. All right, so the next step, after I am completely done with the final pattern and I've made my final product ready to be photographed, it is time for the photo shoot. And I love this part. I love taking photos in general, but I especially love making these animals look as cute as possible. And good photos can really make or break a pattern. I mean, you really have to treat this step just as important as the design itself. Take photos of the animal in every single angle. And then if my son is home, I like to commission him with the chocolate chips to hold the animals to take photos. Just for a lifestyle shot. You know, people want to see like how big it is compared to a actual child. The photos serve a lot of purposes, so I make sure that I have plenty to choose from. Some go directly into the pattern itself to help guide crocheters as they make it. Others are used on Etsy, my Shopify site, Pinterest, Ravelry. Everywhere that I post the pattern, I use these pictures. All right, so after the photo shoot, now we're going to go back into Canva and finalize the PDF. So this is where everything comes together in a polished, finished product. I go through the entire document carefully to make sure it flows in the right order. If certain pieces depend on others, like making the head before attaching the nose and the ears, I double check that those steps are explained clearly and that they appear exactly where they need to in the right order. I also do a full review of all the stitch counts, the rows, the instructions. I make sure all the abbreviations match. This is the time I just try to catch any little mistakes. Accuracy is so important because crocheters are trusting my instructions to guide them. And if I have an error, it can be frustrating for someone following along, especially a beginner. I'm basically at this point getting the PDF ready for testers. So this is like a dry run, or what is this called? This is like a soft opening of a restaurant. Okay, next, it is time for one of the most important steps, which is pattern testing. This is where I invite real crocheters to try out the design before it ever hits my shop. I usually start by posting a photo of the finished plushie on Instagram and Facebook and opening applications for testers there. I usually handpick at random 5 to 10 people to test a pattern. They get the pattern for free in exchange for crocheting it within about a week. I usually do 7 days and providing feedback. And let me tell you, their feedback is gold. Testers will tell me if an instruction felt confusing, if stitch count didn't add up, if there's a small typo that could trip someone up. No matter how carefully I have typed and reread the pattern, there is always something that slips through. And testers help catch those things before they ever reach my customers. So it really is the difference between a good pattern and a great one. Another bonus is that I ask all of my testers to share their versions of the finished product on their social media and tag me. So it's also great for marketing. So it creates like a wave of excitement before the pattern is released. It's also fun to see the different color combinations and styles that they use to bring it to life. And sharing their finished plushies to my account just naturally builds up buzz for launch day. So also, while my testers are busy crocheting during that 7-day window of the testing period, I use that time very strategically. So I treat this as my pre-launch prep period. So I'm getting everything ready so that when the pattern drops, it is smooth and seamless. I draft all of my shop listings on Etsy, Shopify, and Ravelry, so they are ready to go with placeholders, text, and images. All I have to do is upload the final PDF on launch day. And I write and schedule the email that's going to go out to my email list. I will prepare all the Pinterest prints. I'll line up social media posts and start building anticipation with sneak peeks, close-up shots, behind-the-scene clips, a video if I had it, and start a countdown like 3 days until the launch, or, say whatever the pattern release date is, and People will comment, I can't wait till this pattern drops. So this combination of the tester feedback and the pre-launch marketing really sets the stage for a strong release. And I will be honest with you, when I first started designing patterns, I did not use testers. And that was a rookie mistake. I thought I could catch everything myself. But the reality is, no matter how many times you review it, you're just too close to it. You're going to miss something. You're going to skip a step. And you risk having a buyer find the mistake for you, which usually shows up as a 1-star review. And trust me, I have been there and it is no fun. So testers are absolutely worth adding that extra week to the process because they save you from headaches later on and they help ensure that your buyers are going to have a great experience from the start. So this pre-launch prep may not sound glamorous, but it really makes launch day so much smoother and stress-free and successful, most importantly. So when launch day comes around, I've gotten all of my feedback from testers. I have applied all of the changes that they told me to make in the pattern. And when launch day comes around, I am ready to just upload that PDF and hit submit or hit publish. And then once it goes live on my website, I then have the links I need to send the email out and to post on Ravelry and Etsy and social media. I typically send the emails out around 8, like between 7 and 8:30 a.m. So then after the email goes out, I'm post it on Instagram stories. I've got my link and my testers, God bless them. They reshare. They're not required to do this, but they do it. It's very nice. They'll say, I tested this pattern and now it's the release day, and then they'll share the link out. And yes, I absolutely celebrate those first few sales that come in. Just seeing makers get excited to create something that I dreamed up never gets old. It really is the best feeling. And then one final step. This is something I started doing in recent months, and I highly recommend it if you have your own website, is to write a blog post about your new pattern. This is just a nice add-on, and it's really powerful strategy for SEO and long-term traffic. And I usually make sure the blog post is at least 2,500 to 3,000 words. I weave in high traffic keywords all throughout the blog post. I add it to the H1 and H2 headers so that anyone Googling those keywords, that I have a strong chance of showing up. That's the goal, right? So over time, this compounds and really builds a steady stream of organic visitors. And of course, ChatGPT helps me with all of this. It's a great tool for blogging, for sure. So this step does take a little extra time, but it's worth it. A well-written blog post can really bring traffic to your site for years to come. So that is my full process from the very first spark of an idea to launch day. I hope that this gave you a real peek behind the curtain of what it's like to design a crochet pattern, and maybe even spark some curiosity of trying it yourself, or maybe it scared you away. I don't know. Designing patterns it's truly one of my favorite creative outlets. So it comes with some challenges, plenty of trial and error. Certainly it's an investment in time, but it also pays dividends, for years to come. So I think you just really have to enjoy the designing process. So if you are listening to this episode and you have really been thinking about writing your first pattern, I want to help make it as easy as possible for you to start. So I put together a brand new digital product. It is a fill-in-the-blank Canva template that takes all the tech overwhelm out of formatting your own pattern. So check the show notes for a link to purchase. You'll get a professional, ready-to-use template and instructions on how to use it. So whether you're writing your very first pattern to sell, or you just want to create one for friends to share with friends, this tool will help save you hours of frustration and produce something that's really polished and professional. So, all right, friends, that is a wrap for today's episode. If you found this helpful, I would love for you to share it with a fellow maker who's curious about designing their own patterns. It is the best way to help more people discover the podcast. And if you haven't yet, please take a moment to leave a review. It really makes a difference in helping the show to grow. And in the meantime, you can always visit marcymade.co to explore my crochet patterns, beginner-friendly kits, and even my Learn to Crochet course if you are just getting started. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you back here next week.